Hi guys, welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Morgan and I'm the maker behind LA Crochet. And if you're a returning crochet friend, welcome back. This video is a bit of a 2-for-1 special because I did 2 markets in 1 week. Yeah. Not sure if I was crazy or brave, but luckily it all worked out. And rather than make one video on each market, I thought it would be fun to combine the 2 into one video so you guys could see what it was like doing 2 markets in 1 week. So today I'll be telling you guys all about my 3rd and 4th market. But first, if you'd like to support my channel, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and check out my Instagram and my Etsy linked in the description box. This week, I also have a super special announcement for you guys later in the video, and I'm so excited to share it with you. But alrighty friends, let's get into it. So my first market was last Sunday, June 9th, and it was in like an activity center, so they had axe throwing, escape rooms, pool tables, things like that. I took a little panoramic video of the venue and I'll pop that on the screen for you guys. It was a really cute setting actually, and because I was set up in one of the axe throwing lanes, I had a lot of room to work with. The booth fee for this event was $40 and the event was 5 hours long. And as always, the other vendors were super nice. It was inside, so we didn't need to set up a tent. And setup was just really quick and easy. Really, the only problem was that foot traffic wasn't super great. I would actually say that there was slightly less foot traffic than the very first market that I ever did back in May. But I'm still really glad that I did this market, and I actually ended up making more in total than I did at my first market because I received several custom orders from this market. So I'll show those to you guys later in the video. And the second market I did this week was Saturday, June 15th, and it was at a local Legion Hall. The event doubled as a vendor market and a cornhole tournament, which, saying it aloud, sounds really random. I'm not sure if cornhole is like a regional thing or not. Cornhole is super popular where I'm from, so if you have no idea what cornhole is, just leave a comment and I'll tell you what it is. But anyway, the booth fee for this market was also $40 and the event was 5 hours long. And all of the proceeds went towards funding programs that support retired vets, so it was for a really good cause. So I'm gonna switch up how I show you guys my inventory this week. First, I'm gonna show you guys everything I brought that didn't sell, and then I'm gonna show you everything that did sell. For reference, I brought $2,203 worth of inventory to my first market, and then I brought $2,173 worth of inventory to the second market. And of course, as always, I'll link the pattern creators in the description in case you guys would like to make any of these cuties for your market. So the first item that didn't sell this week was Miss Bailey the Bee, our detailed queen, for $20. Somebody did compliment her this week and they said that they really loved the way that she was designed. I kind of held my breath when she said that and I was like, oh, is this it? Is this her moment? But they didn't end up getting her this time, but I know that she'll find her forever home soon. The next 2 items that didn't sell were my 5 medium chickens that I priced at $17, and then my 2 jumbo chickens that I priced at $22. I was super surprised by this because where I'm from, chickens are super popular. Like, we have a lot of chicken farms in our state, so I'm really surprised that more of them didn't sell. But if you guys are curious, I usually make my medium chickens out of snow cone from Premier, and then I make my large chickens using Sweet Snuggles Light from Michaels. Next, you guys, My donkey, he didn't sell this week. He's still all alone and there's still nobody here beside him. He gets so many compliments though, like everybody thinks that he's super cute. He just hasn't found that special person yet. I feel like the person who ends up getting him is going to have very strong opinions about donkeys. Like donkeys are going to be their favorite animal, or they're going to have a favorite donkey character like Donkey from Shrek, or I'm blanking on more examples of donkey characters, but I'm sure there's more. He is one of my more expensive items because every different part that you see on him had to be sewn on separately, so he took a really long time to make. The next item that didn't sell were the dragons, priced at $65. I brought 4 in total. I brought this beautiful green minty colored one, this purple one, and then this pink and white one. And then, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to show you guys the newest dragon that I made, my sunflower dragon. Isn't she so cute? I absolutely love the way that she turned out, and I think that she's just so adorable. So to make her, I used the same pattern by Crochet by Jenna that I used to make all of the other ones. And then for the sunflower tail, I just freehanded this. I basically made 2 circles in this brown color, and then I crocheted them together, and then I put these yellow sunflower petals on it, and I used the same pattern for the petals that I used for my sunflower turtles. I can link the video that I used to learn how to make these sunflower petals in the description in case you guys would like to watch it. But yeah, I love this pattern and I just love making these dragons. And I was super happy that I was able to kind of like customize mine a little bit. These dragons are great for catching people's eye and drawing them into my booth. I also like how I can put them on top of the new crates that I just got, and they can kind of overlook my entire table. So the next item that I brought was my evil froggy. He's priced at $20 and he definitely got a lot more attention this week. People kept saying that they thought he was so cute and his angry little eyebrows were just really funny. I'm probably gonna be really sad when he does finally go to his forever home because I've just gotten so used to having him at my booth. When that time does eventually come, I'll have to make Evil Froggy 2.0. Next, I brought this cute little popping mushroom for $18. I did demonstrate him for several people and they loved him, but just no takers this time. I also brought 5 of my little derpy frogs for $15, and surprisingly, none of them sold this week. I was super surprised by this because 4 out of 5 of them sold at my last market. I just love how they look like their own little posse when they're sitting on the tree round, and they're all just so derpy and cute. Next, I brought my heart-shaped plushie for $15. Someone suggested in the comment that adding a face to it might help it sell, so I'm considering doing that. I'm also thinking about adding little like arms and legs to it. I don't know, I'll have to think about it some more. I feel like the person that ends up buying this will be buying it for like a gift for someone that they love. And I just think that's so cute. Do you guys ever wonder how many of the things that you make end up being a special gift for someone else? I think that's just so nice to think about. Okay, the next 3 things that I brought were my Kiwi keychains and my watermelon keychains in these 3 different color variations. And these were the only 2 fruits from my fruit basket pattern bundle that didn't sell this week. I was really surprised by this because when I had them at my market back in May, they sold super fast. But this time I had a lot more fruit. The first time that I made them, I only had 4 watermelon keychains, 1 kiwi keychain, 4 oranges, and 4 blueberries. but this time I made 15 of these watermelon keychains, 5 in each color variation. I made 8 of the kiwi keychains, and then I made 8 in each of the orange and the blueberry, and then I also made 5 pineapple keychains. So this week, the other fruits like the orange and the blueberry and the pineapple ended up selling better than these two fruits, and it just might be because there were a lot more options to choose from. Okay, you guys, next, this is probably one of the most shocking items that didn't sell this week, and that is my mushy boys priced at $15. I brought 15 in total, so I brought 5 red, and then I brought 2 each in orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Usually these guys are up there with my best sellers, but this week I didn't sell a single one. This just shows that you can never truly predict what's going to sell well at your market. I made a reel on my Instagram asking people to guess what they thought the best seller was at my first market. And I got so many guesses for the mushy boys. And I totally understand that because at my last market, I sold 7 out of the 15 that I brought. It might be because at these 2 markets this week, I made jumbo mushy boys and they sold really well at both of the markets. So they might have took some of the attention away from the little guys. But yeah, that's really the only reason that I can think of that these guys didn't sell this week. Either that or these 2 crowds just weren't fans of the mushy boy. Okay, next I brought 8 of my popping mushroom keychains, and then I also brought 8 of my strawberry keychains, and they're both priced at $10. This week I also added 2 pickles to my inventory for $12. And I made these pickles because I had this glass jar like lying around my house, and I just thought that crocheted pickles would look really cute in the jar. Have you guys ever made a crochet item because of a display piece that you had? Like, I feel like that's pretty backwards. And I have to say, I was also influenced to make them because of this audio that I heard from a reel that I watched. So it's a clip from SpongeBob where Squidward's like, okay, this is really kind of weird. Squidward says, "I've come for your pickle." And for some reason, I thought it would just be super hilarious to crochet some pickles and make a reel using that audio. But anyway, I just freehanded these guys, and I was thinking about typing up how I made them and putting it on Instagram, but I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like I've already seen maybe a few pickle patterns out there, so let me know if you guys would like that. But anyway, they got a ton of compliments and people thought they were hilarious. There was this one woman who came up and she said, "I don't even like pickles, but I want that crocheted pickle so badly." But neither of them ended up going home this week. Another item that didn't sell this week were my sunflower turtles, priced at $45. My regular turtle also didn't sell, and he was priced at $40. I really want to make new sunflower turtles using Sweet Sungles Light yarn, but I'm just waiting on these guys to sell first. All right, you guys, my last item that didn't sell was, say it with me, my jumbo strawberry pillow. If you guys have watched my first 2 videos, you know that this strawberry pillow really hasn't gotten that much attention from anybody. At my first 2 markets that I ever did, I priced this pillow at $55 just because of how much time it took me to make. But this week for these 2 markets, I actually ended up lowering the price to $45. But I'm thinking the problem isn't the price because people still haven't really paid that much attention to it. Someone suggested that I add a face to it, and I might try that. And then someone else suggested that I make a little sign for it that clearly shows that it's a pillow, which I did think about doing. I just couldn't find a way to do that with the items around my house. I don't know, I'm still holding out hope that someone's going to come to one of my future markets, and in their head they're going to be saying, you know what would just go perfectly in my bedroom? A handmade crocheted jumbo strawberry pillow. And when that day comes, we will be there. But anyway, you guys, let's get into the things that did sell this week. Alrighty, you guys, the first item that sold this week was my axolotls. As usual, I brought 8 in total. I brought 2 each in pink, blue, green, and purple, and I priced them at $17. And this week I ended up selling one of my purple axolotls. When I first started making these guys, I really thought that the pink axolotl would be the most popular because I'm pretty sure axolotls are pink in real life, but really the blue and the purple axolotls have been the most popular. Next, I sold 3 out of my 5 bumblebees this week. And these guys are priced at $14. Bees are usually super popular at my markets, so I highly recommend making some. Next, I sold one of my Bumblebee keychains. I brought 5 of these guys and I priced them at $10. This is a pattern that I created because I really wanted a no-sew bee pattern that I could make into a keychain. And yeah, I'm thinking about filming a tutorial for this and putting it up here on YouTube if you guys are interested. Alrighty, the next items that I sold this week were 2 of my blueberries, 1 of my oranges, and then 1 of my brand new pineapple keychains. Each of these, in addition to the Kiwi keychains and the watermelon keychains, are part of my very first pattern bundle. And this may or may not be the big surprise that I have for you guys later in the video. But I decided to make this pattern bundle because I really wanted some quick $5 makes that I could bring to my markets. And I thought it would just be so cute to make a pattern bundle and be able to call it a fruit basket bundle. But anyway, people really loved these little cuties, especially the blueberries. I feel like they got the most compliments out of all of the fruits. But more on these guys later. Next, I sold one of my mini chickens, and these guys are priced at $12. My husband comes to every market, and the chicken coop is one of his favorite things to help set up. He's got it down to a science where he's able to display each of the 3 different sizes of chickens so that you can clearly see all of them. So he has obviously been promoted and he is now one of my elite employees. I love to make that joke like every time. Alrighty, it is time for my second best seller. I feel like at every market that I go to, it's always something different. So this week, the plushie that came in second place was my dinos. I brought 5 of these guys. So I brought 1 in pink, 1 in yellow, 1 green, 1 blue, and 1 purple. And all of the other ones sold. So this pink dino is the only dino that I have left. He is the lone survivor. I priced these guys at $20, and they're honestly one of my favorite parts about my display because I love lining them up in Roy G. Biv order, and I think that they just look so satisfying and eye-catching like this. But yeah, I'm so happy that my dinos got so much love this week, and hopefully my pink dino can get adopted next time so that he doesn't feel so sad about being the only one left. My next market is 2 weeks away, so I'm definitely going to have to restock a lot of my chunky dinos. Another great seller for me this week, and one of the newest additions to my inventory, was the Jumbo Mushy Boys. I priced these guys at $25 and I made them using Sweet Snuggles yarn from Michaels. I highly recommend making these guys for your market. In my experience this week, people would see them and they would just immediately fall in love with the size. And these jumbo ones are only $10 more than my mini Mushy Boys. So I think that kind of helped to justify the sale a little bit in their minds. To make them in this larger size, I use the same pattern that I use for the regular Mushy Boys. I just use the larger yarn and I increase the hook size. But because this yarn is so big, I do also use a hot glue gun to glue the eyes into place just to make sure they don't slip through the larger stitches. So that is an added step. But at the first market I did this week, I brought one pink jumbo mushy boy and one blue. And the pink one ended up selling at this market. So during the week, I made another pink one so that I could have two more at my second market. And then they both ended up selling at the second market. So in total, I sold 3 of my jumbo mushy boys this week. I really love making these guys. I think that these jumbo mushy boys are probably going to be something that I make regularly for my markets. I also bought a few more colors to make them with. So I brought this pretty green color, and then I also brought this pretty like lavender color. So ideally I would like to bring a pink, a blue, a green, and a purple jumbo mushy boy to my next market. But yeah, I'm not sure if having these jumbo mushy boys kind of impedes the sale of the regular ones. I feel like it's gonna take more time for me to be able to draw a conclusion on that. Alrighty, the next item that I sold were my octos, and I priced these guys at $10 each. I typically bring 18 of these guys with me to my market. I usually bring 2 in each color, and I make them in white, pink, red, orange, yellow, dark green, mint green, blue, and purple. But this week, the only one that ended up being sold was my dark green octo. The next thing that I sold, and something that I was really happy to sell, was one of my strawberry turtles. Hold on, you guys. It's getting like really hot in my room, so I need to put my hair up. Okay. Anyway, for those of you who have watched my first few videos, you know that I have this strawberry turtle. He was the first turtle that I ever made, and I guess in a moment of confusion, I accidentally ended up sewing all of his fins on backwards. A lot of people said that they couldn't notice, but I just really couldn't unsee it. Most of my turtles are priced at $45, but because his fins were sewn on backwards, he was discounted at $40. And so at my first market this week, this woman came up to my booth and kind of did like a quick once over of everything, and then immediately was like, I want this strawberry turtle. I think it's so funny how sometimes people stand at my booth and have such a hard time deciding what to buy. And then there's other times that people come up and pretty much immediately they know exactly what they want. I brought my other strawberry turtle that I made using Sweet Snuggles Light, and he's just so soft and cuddly, and he also works up slightly bigger because that yarn is slightly larger than Parfait Chunky. So I was kind of surprised that she didn't go for this one. It could have been that she just really loved the colors that I used for the other turtle, or maybe she just really liked that it was a smaller size. And then finally, last but definitely not least, the best seller for the entire week was my cheeky turtles. So I took 3 with me to my first market and they completely sold out. Everyone loved them and thought that they were super funny. For those of you who have never seen this cheeky turtle pattern before, the reason they're called cheeky turtles is because they do have a little surprise hidden underneath the shell. And I think it's also just so cute that the shell is like a little backpack. But I think this week was the very first time that I've ever sold completely out of anything. It was super satisfying because I had to move the tree round and the price sign off of my table because they were all gone. So because I sold completely out of them at the first market I did this week, I restocked them during the week and I made 4 in total. 2 I made in this dark green color using the brown shell, and then the other 2 were in the minty green color with like a tan shell. And I priced these guys at $17. So at my second market this week, I ended up selling 2 more, and I actually sold 2 in the minty green color. Something that I did differently this week that I didn't do at the first market that I had them at was I displayed one of the turtles so that the shell was half hanging off so that people could see what the surprise was for themselves. And I think that really helped with sales. So if you decide to try to make some of these guys for your market, I highly recommend trying that. So now it's time to tell you guys the total amount in sales that I made this week. So at the first market that I did on Sunday, I ended up making $181, which honestly was not that bad for the amount of people that were there. And then for my second market, I made $210. So the grand total for this whole week was $391. But wait, that's not all. I actually received a very special custom order from one of the customers at my first market. Hi you guys, so today is actually June 14th. It's a little before when I'm filming the rest of the video, but I wanted to come on because I finished my custom orders and I'm gonna be sending them out soon. I actually might be sending them out later today, so I wanted to show you guys what I made before they go to their forever homes. So whenever someone buys something from my booth, or even if someone shows a little bit of interest in my work, I usually give them my business card. By the way, this is what my business card looks like. I have my email, Etsy, Instagram, and YouTube on them, and I just love the way that they turned out. I think that they're super cute, and I designed them off of Canva. So when I give people my business card, I usually try to remember to tell them that I do custom orders. That way people know that I can make things beyond what they see in front of them on my table. So if they have something specific in mind, they can ask if I can make it for them custom. So after the market, I received an email from one of the individuals who bought some items from my booth asking if I could make her a custom Chihuahua puppy. And I was like, I would love to. And I sent her a few different design options with the pricing info, and she chose the design that she wanted. And then in the next email she sent, she said, "Oh, can you also make me a custom dachshund puppy as well?" And I told her, you know, feel free to send me a picture of the dogs if you would like. That way I can try to mimic the yarn color as close as possible. So she sends me a picture, and of course my first reaction is like, oh my gosh, these puppies are so cute. I love them so much. But anyway, the Chihuahua had like kind of a tan color to him, and then the dachshund was kind of like this brown color with red undertones. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to find that exact specific shade that you're looking for, especially for the dachshund. Like, he does have those red undertones, so that can be a little more difficult to mimic. But I did the best that I could, and honestly, I think they came out pretty well. So this is my first custom pup, the Chihuahua. Oh my gosh, isn't he so cute? I just love him. He's so adorable. I just love how soft he is and the size that he turned out to be. He actually did turn out a little larger than I thought that he would, but I really like him. I used Chenille Home Slim from Michaels. It's really similar to Sweet Snuggles Light, and this is the shade Seed Pearl. Fancy. And I used a 6.5 millimeter hook. And as always, I'll link the pattern creators for these pups in the description. I'm pretty sure this Chihuahua and my donkey are the only 2 plushies that I've ever made that kind of sit up like this. I actually gave the customer a choice between the pup sitting and standing on all four legs. And she said that she would prefer that the Chihuahua be sitting. She also requested that the pup have a pink collar. So I made this little collar for her, and I think that it just really ties the whole thing together. I just love him so much, and I really hope they do too. Okay, now it's time to reveal the other pup, the Dachshund. Ah! Isn't he just so cute? Oh my gosh, I cannot get over him. I just love his floppy ears and the shape that he turned out to be. He actually is much larger than I anticipated him being. I definitely learned, like, when doing custom orders, I should look more closely at the pattern details and really consider like the kind of yarn that I'm using. Don't get me wrong, I love that he's bigger like this. I just think that it's more plushy to love. I just think it would be better to have like a more accurate idea for the customer going into it. So for him, I also used Chenille Home Slim from Michaels, and the shade is terracotta. So I think it's actually probably the closest that I could have gotten to like the brown color with the red undertones. I really love the proportions of it and how big the ears are. When I was stuffing the head, because it's quite large, I was actually kind of nervous that when he sat on all fours, he would like topple over. But actually, because his body is so long, it distributes the weight so that he stands up perfectly. And this is the first time that I've ever embroidered a snout like this, and I think that it turned out really well. I'm super happy with it. For the Dachshund pup, the customer did request a red collar, so I made this one for them. I did have to make it slightly longer than the Chihuahua's collar because this guy has a little bit of a thicker neck. But yeah, here they are together. I just love the way that they turned out. They really do remind me of the two pups in the picture that the customer sent. So I hope that they're really happy with them. And I'll be sending these guys out hopefully later today. I just love doing custom orders. If you watched my last video, you know that I made a custom ladybug for one of the customers at that market. And now I've made these two pups from this market. So this just shows that markets are, of course, great for selling your existing product, but they're also a great way to showcase your work and make connections with people and just establish your business in your community. As I mentioned earlier, it's for reasons like this that I'm super happy I did this market. Even though foot traffic wasn't great, I got to make these two amazing custom orders. So if you guys are open to doing custom orders, make sure that you remember to tell your customers. So I wanted to show you guys some footage I took from my very first market this week so you guys could see how I displayed my items. One great thing about this first market that took place at the activity center was that it was indoors, so my husband and I didn't have to worry about setting up the tent, and also there was no wind, so I didn't have to worry about anything falling over. But one weird thing about this event was the dimensions of the space. So I was in an axe throwing lane, so the dimensions were actually 6 feet wide by 18 feet long. And if you guys have seen my other videos, you know that I'm used to a 10 by 10 space, and I usually only bring one table with me. But this time I knew that I needed to have another table with me because I thought that one 8-foot table would just look super silly in such a large space. And I was worried that it would make it look like I didn't have that much inventory. So I went on down to Home Depot and I bought a 6-foot table. So now I have an 8-foot table and a 6-foot table. I also bought 2 more wooden crates from Michaels to put on my new table. I got the plain square ones instead of the ones with the open tops because I wanted to be able to display some of my larger items on top of them. I also got another tablecloth in the peach color to match my first table, And I can link all of the different display items that I got in the description in case you guys are interested in looking at them for your market. So I basically didn't have a choice on how to set up my tables because the space was so narrow. So I basically had to just put them up against the wall next to each other. This setup was a little weird for me because I'm used to standing behind the table and having my checkout stuff like my square and my bags hidden behind some of my crates or my wooden sign. So for this market, I ended up putting my stuff on top of my plastic bins, kind of hidden between the two tables. And then whenever I needed my square or my bags, I would just reach down and grab them real quick. Which honestly wasn't that bad, like it worked out just fine. It was just a little different than I was used to. And then to fill out the space on the table that I added, I spread out my items a little bit more. I also had the two new crates, so I put some of my jumbo mushy boys in the one. Then I put my jumbo strawberry pillow in the other one, and I placed a dragon on top of each crate. I also made a lot more of my fruits for this market and I laid them out on the table, so they took up a lot more room than my first market. I thought about buying a fruit platter because I thought that would be really cute to display my crocheted fruit on in addition to the fruit basket, but I had already spent so much this week on the extra table, the tablecloth, and the two crates that I decided that I didn't want to do that right now. But I also added a new tree round for my derpy froggies, and I also added a new addition to my inventory, pickles in a jar. And of course I did the usual where my chickens got their own little chicken coop, and then my turtles got their own wooden crate, and then my red mushy boys, my bees, and my axolotls got their own little tree rounds at the front of my table, and then my colorful mushy boys were on top of my tiered displays. I also put my dinos in a little row in front of my turtles, and I think they just look so cute lined up like this. I just love how they make their own little rainbow. And yeah, I was super happy with how my display turned out. I try to keep my display items more in like a neutral color. For example, pretty much everything that I have is either tan because it's made out of wood, or it's black like my keychain stand or the detailing on my tiered displays. I really like this look because my plushies are super colorful, so having a more neutral background I feel helps keep my table from being too overwhelming, and it makes the whole table just look a lot more cohesive. And then for my second market, my setup was more or less the same. The only big difference was that it was outside, so we of course had to set up our tent and bring our chairs. And I was so proud because my husband and I put the tent up all by ourselves, and this was our first time doing it, just the two of us. And then of course we brought our tent weights. I really like these tent weights because they Velcro directly onto the leg of the tent. So if you'd like to check them out, I'll link them in the description for you. It was pretty windy the day of the market, so I decided to just lay my price signs down flat on the table rather than trying to stand them up in my little tree rounds. I learned at my first outdoor market that they blow over really easily, so I just didn't even bother trying to stand them up this time. But the breeze was really nice because it kept us nice and cool, and I didn't have any problems with any of my plushies falling over, which was good. For this market, because it was a 10 by 10 box that I'm used to, I put my tables in an L shape, and I really liked the way it made my booth look. I changed up my crate placement a little bit, but for the most part, the setup was pretty similar to the market I had earlier in the week. Though this time we did have room to place our chairs behind the tables, so I was able to have my checkout items hidden behind the crates and the wooden sign. And this just felt way more natural to me than having to stand like in front of my booth or off to the side like I had to at the market earlier this week. So I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video that foot traffic wasn't super great, and it was actually probably a little less than the very first market that I did back in May. I think maybe 20 people walked through the entire time, so it was pretty slow. But my conversion rate was super high. And what I mean by that is a large percentage of people who entered my booth actually ended up purchasing something. Also, some of the other vendors came around and bought some things from my booth, so that was super nice. But yeah, I was still super happy that I did this market because I got my name out there, I got some custom orders, I still made some really great sales, and I shared a booth with this really super sweet couple, and they had this adorable little dog with them. So, I mean, really, what more can you ask for? And then for my second market, it was just a really nice day. I'm so happy we did this one because the proceeds went to a really good cause, and it was just a really nice, relaxing day out with my husband doing what I love. But the people who came for the cornhole tournament really kind of stayed over in that area and didn't really come over into the market that much. But foot traffic was slightly better than the market earlier this week. Something that was a little unfortunate about this market was that another crocheter and I were actually placed right next to each other. I know it wasn't my fault, but I still felt super bad about it. I think because I know how much work it takes to put on an event like that, especially when everything is handmade like what we do. And then to get there finally and find the person next to you is doing something similar can be a little disheartening. But she did use a lot more acrylic yarn and I used mostly chenille yarn, so luckily that differentiated us a little bit. And then she also had some items that I don't sell, like she had hanging crochet plants that were super cute, and she also sold some dish towels, so that helped as well. But we chatted throughout the market and she was super nice and really fun to talk to. The event coordinator did come over later and she really apologized for putting both of us together, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's totally fine. I know that it was just an honest mistake. But you guys, I did have a little grasshopper friend join me at my booth. He was just checking out the plushies real quick and then he headed on his merry way, so that was fun. But anyway, even though these two markets didn't have as much foot traffic as the one I did a few weeks ago, I was still super happy with the inventory that I brought and the items that I sold. So as you guys know, I'm pretty much brand new to markets, and I really want this channel to be helpful for those of you who are also new to markets. Maybe you're thinking about doing markets in the future, or maybe you just have an upcoming market that you'd like some ideas for. So in all of my market day recap videos, I always like to include a little lessons learned section so that you guys can maybe learn from some of my experiences. So for the first market that I did this week, I found out at the event that this was actually the very first time that they'd ever done this market, which really surprised me because when I first signed up for the market, the flyer that I saw looked super professional and they had 4 different dates throughout the entire summer. And I don't know, I think I just assumed that this was an established thing that they did every summer, but I definitely made a mistake assuming that because this was the very first time that they'd ever had this event. So I learned that when signing up for an event, make sure that you ask them if this is an established event or not. Not always, but I feel like my experience has been whenever it's the first time that they've done a particular event, foot traffic usually isn't as great as you might want it to be. I would also say this about the second market that I went to this week because that was also the first time they'd ever done this. but because the proceeds went to such a good cause, I really didn't care that much. The second thing that I learned was to be cautious of events that double as something else and pay attention to how they're marketed. And like I said, I was super happy that I did the second event. But I wonder if maybe it was marketed more as a cornhole tournament and less as a market. Because it seemed like people didn't really understand that both of the events were supposed to be happening together. Like, the vendor next to me said that she overheard someone from the cornhole tournament saying that they thought the market was a completely separate event and that they weren't supposed to come in. And like I said, I'm not sure if this is because the cornhole tournament was going on simultaneously or if it was because maybe it was marketed more as a cornhole tournament, but I would just keep that in mind when looking for events in your area. I'm still super new to markets, so I'm still just trialing a bunch of different events in my area and seeing what I like. Also, if you're able, I feel like it's a really good idea to go to the event before you actually sign up to do it. But I didn't really feel like that was an option for me this time because at the first market that I did at the activity center, they had 4 events going on all summer. And actually, apparently, like 4 different crochet artists applied, so they just randomly assigned each of us a date. So I really didn't have a choice with which one I attended. But in December of last year, my husband and I went to a few Christmas markets in our area, so I got a really nice idea of some of the markets that I would like to apply to this year. I learned after the success that I had at my second market that I did in May that I really want to try to do more markets that also double as festivals. If you watched my last video, you saw that this event had like live music, food trucks, bouncy houses, magicians, clowns. So they really had a huge turnout and a lot of families came. I highly recommend looking for established events like this, and I'm definitely going to try to apply to more of them in the future. And the last thing that I learned was to always try to remember to tell people that I do custom orders when I hand them my business card. This is something that I started doing after my second market when one of the women at my booth asked me if I made any ladybugs. And I told her, no, I've never made a ladybug before, but I'd love to make one for you. So this week at these 2 markets, I made sure that every time I handed out my business card, I told people that I do custom orders. And I thought that it was pretty awesome that at the first market I started doing this at, I got 2 custom orders for the Chihuahua and the Dachshund. So if you guys are open to doing custom orders, make sure you let your customers know. Okay, you guys, it's time for my special announcement. As of today, my fruit basket pattern bundle is officially live on my Etsy. I am so excited because this is my very first pattern release ever. This pattern includes my watermelon keychain, the kiwi keychain, the pineapple keychain, the orange, and the blueberry. I'm so happy that I was able to include all of these different patterns in my first pattern bundle. They're just such quick market makes, so you could make a bunch of them in one day if you liked. I'm also a big fan of cohesion, as you can probably tell. So I love that all of these different fruits are obviously related to each other, but there's still a bunch of different options for the customer to choose from. If you guys would like to check out my very first pattern release, you can find it on my Etsy page, which is linked in the description below. And if you guys decide to make some of these fruits, be sure to tag me on Instagram so I can see all of your cute fruities. This was also my first time running a pattern test on Instagram, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all 8 of my amazing pattern testers. They did such an amazing job, and I'm gonna put all of their Instagram handles below for you guys. Alrighty, you guys, whew! That wraps it up for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And you guys, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. Thank you so much for all of your support. If you guys liked this video, consider subscribing, and you can check out my Instagram linked below. As always, if you guys have any questions that I didn't address in this video, feel free to leave me a comment. Alrighty, you guys, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!